bloody pip. Tally-ho, gents. My name is Totalbiscuit of the WoW podcast, Blue Please, on cynicalbrit.com. This is Worgen 5, and this is a bit of a lull, a calm before the storm, as it were. A set of quests that aren't all that interesting, but serve a purpose. You can't expect every single quest in the Worgen zone to be pure gold, and in this case, they certainly are not. So, the storyline so far is that we are approaching Gilneas. We're actually camped outside of it right now, and we're preparing to attempt to liberate the city. Now, before we do that, we must rescue some of our enslaved kinsmen from this mine that is being controlled by the Forsaken. We need to kill the slave master, let a few guys go, and then we need to go kill some stag so that we can prepare a last meal. A little bit depressing, really. It's like, yeah, we're going to go in there. Most of our guys are probably going to die, so here, have some venison. That'll make you feel all better. I'm going to speed up pretty much all of this because there is nothing to see, honestly. Besides, it'll give me a little bit of time to practice my balanced druid rotation. Now, what would be the best way to do this? Oh yeah, open with that and then smack him down, but I think we can make that a little better. When was the last time I played a druid? I think I rolled an alt at some point and got a druid to maybe level 10. That was really about it. Back when I played a druid, you couldn't use those entangling roots indoors. When was it? 2005, I think? I think it was on Defias Brotherhood, actually, on the EU side. Yeah, the best way to deal with this... And wow, look at the size of those crits. That's impressive. Best way to deal with this in terms of an opening rotation, I would think, would be to open up with Star Surge, and then hit the entangling roots. Then maybe pop a Moonfire, then spam Wrath. Seems like the most efficient way of doing things, and of course with entangling roots usable indoors and fairly difficult to break, if you're fighting in a 1 versus 1, you shouldn't really even be getting hit. Dash through those, reset the aggro. Get him out of the way. We don't need to kill any more of these, so there's no real point. Got myself a styling new hammer. Gives 0.1 more DPS by the looks of it. Very impressive. Powerful. Yes, you have been bitten, and you are now dead. Not too much of a problem, really. If you were playing a non-stealth class, I can imagine this area would be a little bit annoying. Quite a few patrols wandering around, but of course on launch day, they're all going to be dead anyway, so it shouldn't bother you. They have a minor stun, but nothing more. Okay. So, we've rescued 5 people. We're going to leave the rest to rot because we don't care about them. I only have a certain amount of compassion I can give out in a day, and you have exceeded the limit. I swear, learning compassion is difficult. As a Horde player, we don't have any of that nonsense. Right, okay, let's hand this in to see what we've got. Yes, they are no longer suffering under the yoke of the Forsaken. What is it? You've done it again. With kittens. Of course, you do everything with kittens. It's just better that way. Now, if you thought that quest was somewhat uninspired, this is a little worse. So apparently, only stag is good enough for the Gilnean militia. Deer? No, we don't care about them. Gotta be stag. Still getting this rotation right, as I was working out. It's like, well, surely I could... If I dropped a Moonfire at the start, then the DOT's ticking for longer, ergo it's a optimum efficiency rotation. Then I realized I'm level 11. Why do I care? There you go. Now you've learned something new. The optimum level 11 Worgen Druid balance rotation. Courtesy of cynicalbrit.com. And also courtesy of cynicalbrit.com, I'm going to speed up the rest of this nonsense. You always have to have some filler quests, I guess. It's just part of the nature of MMOs. I mean, consider the number of quests we've done so far. We've got the achievement for 50 quests back in the Gilnean Manor. We must have done about 100 now. You can't have every one of them be absolutely fantastic and stellar in every respect. It's not a terrible quest. I mean, they at least have a random chance of dropping more than one piece of meat, so I'm not going to complain too much. There we go. Now, I'm going to go and have a look inside Gilneas, mainly out of curiosity. This area is heavily phased, so don't expect it to look the same when I go in there next time. Now, I have to go rescue the folks from Emberstone Village, but in the meantime, go see what's happened in our absence. Those of you who have maybe watched other beta footage or have just paid attention to discussions on forums will be aware of the Battle of Gilneas. The Battle of Gilneas is a extremely phased and very scripted quest along the lines of the Battle for the Undercity, just not as terrible. They've learned an awful lot from that in the Wrathgate. Hi, Liam. It's not safe for you with kittens. Get out of here. You know I slaughtered like thousands of these dudes, right? We will fight them on the beaches. We will fight them in the winter grasp. We will fight them in their starting zones when they accidentally PvP flag. I don't know if this area is in the state it's supposed to be right now. It does seem a little bit weird. I mean, that, for instance, you just saw that little bit of text there doesn't really link into anything. You got the prince there for whatever reason. This quest is pretty buggy, honestly. It's a very heavily scripted quest, and as such is open to a wide variety of things going wrong with it. Now, for about 20 minutes I tried to get this quest to work after I finished all of this nonsense, and I'm going to cut all of that out for your benefit, of course. But I almost gave up before I managed to get the thing to go. Before the last beta patch, things were unplayable. The chance of you actually getting a working Battle of Gilneas was pretty damn low. But before we get to do any of that, we have to go and rescue the people in this tiny little village. Because by the name of Emberstone. Perfect chance to practice our rotation once again. Didn't really do that right. Should have been move fire first. Gotta get that extra, what, 1.5 DPS. It's very important. Must be optimal. I should put damage meters on. At least I would, but you can't run mods in the beta right now. I get rid of the Forsaken Infantry, and there are 2 named mobs hanging around here. They're not exactly that dangerous. Although one has an amazing power to evade at random, which is pretty annoying. Once again, we're going to speed this up for you. This is a fairly enclosed space, so expect to randomly pull mobs. On launch day, and of course when the area is populated, I wouldn't expect it to be all that much of a problem because people will be engaging from all sides. It's not like it's hard as a druid. What you will actually notice is the health regen and the mana regen has slowed down quite significantly since level 10. 1 to 10 you get so much of it that it's pretty hard to run out. Here, not so much. And you end up randomly pulling 3 guys and have to kite them around a bit. Thank you. Okay, let's stealth it up and find Mr. Cornell, Executor Cornell of the popular Forsaken rock band. Is that tier 5? Oh, yes it is. I suppose you had to put it somewhere. Give it to the level 10s. Okay. Where are you? Ah, it's Professor Putricide. Good news, everyone. Funny enough, he even sounds like Professor Putricide as well, as you'll find out in a moment. What I want to know is... what's that? Why do they have this tiny little boat there? It just seems a little odd and out of place, doesn't it? Oh well. Right. I'm going to have to clear this guy out of the way first. Don't know how powerful this Valnov the Mad actually is. I'm sorry, that combination is wonderful. It's really satisfying. The knockback makes it all much better. Unfortunately, these mobs evade. As does Valnov, as you're about to find out. Knock you down. Smack you about a bit. That's great, they can't even move, and then he randomly evades for no reason and goes back. Well, at least he's having a good time. Can imagine what he put on his schedule today. So, develop plague, spread plague, die to Totalbiscuit. There we go. I'll save you the trouble of running and just teleport us all the way back there.
What is it?
Now, the battle for Gilneas City. You might want to read this quest text. Do a little bit of a pause. So apparently we have a crucial role to play, and that is brandishing a shiny rapier. No, I'm deadly serious. What you didn't see was 20 minutes of me trying to get this damn quest to work. Consider yourself very fortunate indeed. Rapier of the Gilnean Patriots. Sounds like the Gilneas football team. Okay, so got a bit of voice acting here. So go trigger the event. Listen up. It's very cheesy. Possibly inspiring. That's quite the crowd, though. A lot of NPCs. I'm glad that I managed to get the scale right. There we go.
The Forsaken think we are weak. A broken people. They think we'll roll over like a scared dog. How wrong they are. We will fight them in the fields until the last trench collapses and the last cannon is silenced. We will fight them on the streets until the last shot is fired. And when there is no more ammunition, we'll crush their skulls with the stones that pave our city. We will fight them in the alleys until our knuckles are skinned and bloody and our rapiers lay on the ground shattered. And if we find ourselves surrounded and disarmed, wounded and without hope, we will lift our heads in defiance and spit in their faces. But we will never surrender! For Gilneas!
How come he's the only one that gets a horse? Wouldn't we have much more luck if we actually had some cavalry? We had some stags over there, we could ride those. Oh god, don't give them any ideas. They haven't unveiled the final Worgen mount yet. Ugh. In we go, and charging. Now, this entire quest is fairly similar to the Battle of the Undercity that we saw at Wrathgate, but it's not as terrible. I had massive problems with that quest. It was great for the lore and the storytelling, but it was basically 20 minutes of being tagged around with a flag on your back, looking like an idiot, and being unable to die. It was a waste of time. In this case, what they've given us is something that can actually help. Well, quite a few things as it happens. We've got a bunch of low-level creatures to fight, and we also have low-level allies to help us. So they don't do too much damage, but they bring people down with massed weight of firepower. Now what you can do is you can use this Gilnean rapier to inspire them. And this will give them a heal over time effect, and it will also give them a haste buff, so they chew through things with their muskets and rapiers. It's good stuff. What I'll also note is the fact that it is useful for you to help DPS here. You get a damage buff, so you see I hit for 300 on a normal with my Star Surge right there, and that will take a good amount of health off, so it does really help the NPCs if you do that, although I don't think it's possible to actually lose this. I suppose maybe if you didn't heal the crowd at all, they might run out, but you seem to get constant reinforcements the entire way. That said, they've done a much better job of making it feel like you're part of the action, and this is an actual interactive quest, as opposed to a glorified cutscene that you run around in. It's absolutely fine. I'll tell you, those Forsaken are terrible. I mean, again, we've seen the Forsaken are abysmal when it comes to actual military strategy. I mean, for one thing, they're attacking us in groups of 1 and 2 versus 50 or 60 guys with guns. That's not very smart at all.
The villagers were
You're
thankful to have Emberstone back. They brought us a little something to help against the Forsaken.
What ho, yes. Now, this section of the quest has a number of vehicles lying around. We've got these stationary cannons. There are also damaged Forsaken catapults that can be piloted for a limited amount of time. None of these are remotely necessary, but they do tend to speed things up a little bit. Plus, hey, it's fun. These rapid-fire cannons they've got are fairly ridiculous. One has to wonder how Emberstone got captured so easily if they had a line of rapid-fire artillery cannons to defend them. I don't know, maybe they were just all being lazy. Oh, Forsaken, we'll deal with it tomorrow. You do have a bit of a problem with the angle here. You can aim there, but of course things are moving, so you've got to lead the target. Now, this is irritating. For some reason, after getting out of that vehicle, it automatically zoomed me all the way in, and I could not find a way to reset that without quitting. Bearing in mind this is a scripted quest, the last thing I wanted to do was log out, considering I had only just got it working after trying for 20 minutes to do so. So I apologize. The rest of this part of the video is done in first-person perspective. Hopefully you're not watching this in full screen. It might make you just a tad seasick. I'd recommend you go windowed. It was either that or try and get the quest to work again and do the whole damn thing, which meant that you wouldn't have got the video until at least tomorrow, maybe even after that. Alright, to inspire the villagers by waving a pointy stick in the air. Simple things, simple minds. Now, the neat thing that's coming up right here, you saw some rather disgusting stuff over there. Now, what are they planning? Why are there abominations hanging all over the place? Well, I can tell you. We're about to face a raid boss with 27,000 HP. I know it's not that dangerous by the sounds of it, but hey. I thought, hey, I'll mount the catapult and do damage to him, but that doesn't seem to work, sadly. Now, it's not my terrible aim. I did try and hit him. It just doesn't seem to do any damage. Now, he's boss level, but he doesn't seem to count as such. You can hit him pretty hard. What I do like is the fact there's Worgen jumping all over him, even though the animation is not quite right. We've got one Worgen that's just sort of spazzing around in the air over there. Give him a bit of inspiration. Bring him out. What? Seriously, they're all over the blinking place. It's pretty neat nonetheless. And hey, they had to reuse that model somewhere, right? Now somehow I just feel the urge to put trance music in the background and give shoutouts to my guildies. I should fight that urge, I feel. It does take a while to bring down, doesn't it? Come on, you know you want to fall over. 15%. Focus, guys. Live inside your character. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cue cheer on vent. Everyone's really happy, and we post the world first announcement on the forum. Wonderful. Right. That's that done. Oh, look, so we brought some spare Worgen. Always handy to have a spare Worgen around the place, just in case your existing Worgen falls over and dies. Take out insurance on your Worgen. The warranty is not good enough to replace them after accidental damage. Let's grab another one of these, shall we? See if we can do anything with it. Oh, geez. Can't see anything. Ah! There's a reason why you don't play things from first-person perspective, and this is it. See if we can land it on anything. Wow, that does a lot of damage. You see, if I could have actually hit that boss, I could have killed it in 5 seconds flat. But no, that wouldn't be any fun, would it? Now, the catapults are on fire. So you get about maybe 20-30 seconds in the myth for that. It's neat, though. It gives you a choice and a little bit of variety to the combat, so I can't really complain. We're approaching the main square. Yes, indeed. That's where things start to get a little hairy. Yes, that was a pun. Oh, it's Lord Boxhead. Fantastic, we're all saved. Wait, where are you going? We will prevail and all that? Don't run away. How much you're paying for that life coach is way too much, I tell you that. Now what? Okay, they're going to guard the gate to make sure the Forsaken cannot escape. Sylvanas, you say? Interesting. It's like the Dark Lady herself is making an appearance. And is going to be shot up by a bunch of peasants with muskets. It's fairly embarrassing, really, isn't it? Now, she doesn't really do anything that can be considered dangerous. But she is immune to the knockdown of my Star Surge. That's imbalanced, I tell you. We shall speed this up as well. There's nothing really all that interesting to see. She's got a couple of guards that don't do anything. There's no real risk of death here. However, interesting lore segment coming up right now. For some reason, she doesn't have any voice acting. He does, sadly. Yeah, I think they're going to work on that scripting just a little bit before release. Again, it's nice to see them trying to bring some emotional investment into this. First the troll trainee in the Echo Isles, and now this guy. It's a good way of doing things, really, when you think about it. You've got a character that you've seen for the entire starting zone. You fought alongside, and then he dies almost instantly. In a contrived and cheesy, but nonetheless, pretty cool way. Right, so Sylvanas has buggered off. We need to go find out where she is. We're not going to let her get away with that nonsense. But you might be interested in some even better lore coming up. Right. We shall follow the fellow over to the Cathedral District. We've got to be pretty careful with where we run. There's a lot of Forsaken around, but as long as we follow him completely, we should be fine. You'll have noticed that this character called Fenrir, one of the other players, appeared. Of course, this is because we're in a different phase now. There are no doubt Worgen all over the place, but we can't see them. Okay, sneaky, sneaky. That's not sneaking at all. That's jumping out in full view. Bloody hopeless, I tell you. We're going to go and have a look, see what we can find. Forsaken encampment full of Forsaken generals. Those are the guys that need to be fired after this disastrous attempt at a battle plan. I mean, so far they've managed to kill all of one Gilnean at the loss of many thousands of Forsaken, so I don't think that's the most efficient use of resources. Leave the war to the trolls and the orcs. Did you hear that with kittens? No, in fact, I did not hear that with kittens. I heard it with my ears. I didn't even do that because whatever was supposed to trigger there didn't. No, she's supposed to be in here. She's heading on her way to the cathedral, which is right here, so we're going to jump in the water. What? Why is there water here? Was that here last time? I don't remember that. Well, churches are known for their leaky roofs. Where are you? They're lying in wait. I must admit, at this point, I wondered if she'd actually ever appear. It's like, oh, is it a scripting error? Oh, no, there she is. With General Warhowl, who you will see in future, that I can guarantee. And he is not happy. He, too, has noticed that the Forsaken are terrible at fighting battles. Don't worry, Garrosh, it's merely a setback. Now, that is interesting. Up until now, a lot of you have gotten the impression that Garrosh is a bloodthirsty tyrant. Not really. Honestly, there are a lot of quests both here and in future, which I will show you, particularly in the Stone Talon, that demonstrate that Garrosh is not as crazy as you might think.
What can I do for you?
But here's a nice bit of deceit here from the Forsaken. They are not to be trusted. Not that I ever really trusted them to begin with, but since the events of the Wrathgate, absolutely not. There's a lot of tension going through the ranks of the Horde at the moment. A lot of betrayal, a lot of secrets. And Sylvanas will be involved in a lot of very neat stuff later on. Okay, we are about done for this area. The only thing that's really left to do is to go back and warn Lorna Crowley and Lord Greymane of what actually happened. There are bad things going down. First, they've got to work out a way out of this bloody pool. It's much easier doing platforming in third person. There's a reason why first-person platformers aren't very good. Horrendous. So, yeah, they're totally spreading plague and stuff. That isn't good. Something does have to be done about that. I'm going to go back and tell Lorna Crowley. In the meantime, feel free to admire the fantastic architecture of this area. Very Bowerstone-like, as many people have pointed out. I'm still liking this zone more than the Goblin one, honestly. It's not that the Goblin one is bad, it's just I really like the storytelling here. I think it's genuinely engaging, much more so than anything they've done thus far, so let's see more of that. And there we go.
What is it?
Excellent. Yes, it does warrant telling the king. Bad things are about to happen. Thank you ever so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. My name has been Totalbiscuit, and this has been Worgen 5. I'll see you next time.